A couple of years ago, I attended a workshop with Christian singer-songwriter and author Steve Bell. One of the things that he suggested that stayed with me is that everyone should carry a psalm, a saint, and a prayer in their back pocket. I don't know much about the saints, but someday I will start reading up on them and choose a favorite, because I always enjoy a research challenge. I was inspired to write a prayer, and I'll share that with you later. And last year, during Lent, I decided to read through the Psalms as a daily spiritual practice and notice which Psalms spoke to me. Do you have a favorite Psalm? For many people, the 23rd Psalm comes to mind. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Or the line from Psalm 46, verse 10, be still and know that I am God. Another psalm you might recognize is one we usually sing around Remembrance Day, Psalm 90. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come. One of my favorite anthems, which I chose for my mother's funeral a few years ago, is based on Psalm 91. And I will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of my hand. Isn't that a peaceful and comforting image of God? One of our hymns today is based on Psalm 100, make a joyful noise, all the earth. And one other familiar one might be Psalm 121. I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from God, who has made heaven and earth. It strikes me that there is a psalm for everything. Some are like ballads, speaking of the migration of ancient peoples, plagues, battles, feasts, and famines. Many refer to natural elements, wilderness, deserts, seas, rocks and trees, thunder and lightning. And others are personal pleas for help. There are 150 Psalms in the Old Testament, and 73 of them are credited to David. David has quite a prominent place in the Hebrew Scriptures. He was the 8th son of Jesse, a shepherd, and was chosen to replace King Saul, who had disobeyed God. Legend has it that David slayed Goliath with a stone and a slingshot when Saul was too intimidated to take on the 9-foot-tall Philistine who had mocked his faith. David, we are told, played a 10-string lyre and wore his heart on his sleeve. When he was happy, he danced and sang songs of joy. When he was mad, people around him felt his wrath. David wrote many different types of psalms, including laments, which may be the forerunner of what we now call the blues. Take, for example, these lines from Psalm 6, from the Message translation of the Bible. I'm tired of all this, so tired. My bed has been floating 40 days and nights on the flood of my tears. There is also wisdom in the Psalms, like this line from Psalm 16, another psalm of David. The wise counsel God gives me when I'm awake is confirmed by my sleeping heart. In other words, if you're not sure about something, pray about it and sleep on it. I often wake up feeling at peace with a decision I've made, if it was made prayerfully. Some of David's psalms ask for vengeance on his enemies, and some are psalms of thanksgiving or glorifying God. Some are beautiful poetry, like these lines from Psalm 8. When I look to the heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars you have set in their places, what are we mortals that you should be mindful of us? Mere humans that you should care for us. One of the psalms that spoke to me, at least the opening stanzas, was Psalm 40, which Keith read earlier. In this psalm, David says he waited and waited for God when he was in the depths of despair. Nobody else could have pulled him out of the deep mud and set him on that rock, from which he could sing God's praises. Only when we are standing on solid ground can we be confident enough to share God's love. When we have found that state of feeling safe and sure in God's care, we are called to share that faith with others. David goes on to say, I've preached you to the whole congregation. I've kept back nothing. I told it all. How dependable you are, how thorough. I didn't hold back pieces of love and truth for myself alone. I told it all. Let the congregation know the whole story. Maybe we should all be like David, spreading truth and love. There are many people still writing psalms today. New interpretations of old psalms, new psalms that come from the heart and reflect our current situation, and poems and songs by writers who don't even realize they are writing psalms. We have many great hymn writers today, like Steve Bell, who I mentioned before and is from Winnipeg, and Pat Mayberry, a singer-songwriter from First United Church right here in Ottawa, who has 4 songs in the More Voices hymn book. There are also wonderful poets who write from a spiritual perspective. Albert Dumont is the new poet laureate for the city of Ottawa. He is an Indigenous elder, artist, and activist, and has written many poems. This one from 2019 sounds like a psalm to me. I will read the last 2 stanzas. Akikajuan. We call upon the good spirit to bless all the peoples of our nations. Let us always be kind to one another, we say, and honor all things Creator provides to humankind, so our children can live joyful lives. We stand with kindness in our hearts on a sacred island, where the circle is always strong, where our instructions as human beings rise, encircled in the mist of Akikajuan. They call loudly, wanting to be reclaimed, to assure the survival of all their relations. Beautiful words from a wise elder. Before I read the Psalms with intention, I never appreciated their depth and breadth and how much they reflected daily life with all its ups and downs. I urge you to spend some time with the Psalms too, and find one that speaks to you, or write your own. Earlier, I mentioned that I was also inspired by Steve Bell to write a short prayer that I could read daily to remind me that I am not alone, and God will give me the strength I need to be my best self. This is my prayer. God, you are with me today and always. Help me to live intentionally in your way. Help me to spend my time productively, my money thoughtfully, and my energy to be the hands and feet of Christ in the world. May I be present and open to those I meet, and show compassion to those in need. Amen.